Designed to support owners, leaders and managers in business. If you're looking to grow your business, contact mybusinessgroup.co.uk today for more information or follow the link in the description below. And seeing as this is 3MB, we are proudly sponsored by VMB AUTOCENTRES at Handsworth. They're still offering that amazing deal of 50% off your MOT when you let them know that you're a Rambler. Thank you to VMB AUTOCENTRES for their continued support.
Hey, subscribe to Blaze Ramble, man.
What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and this is the 3 Mardy Blades. Hey, subscribe to Blades Ramble, man. And yeah, we've every excuse to be Mardy tonight, aren't we? But I'm actually going to spin it around and ask, are there reasons to take some positives from yesterday? So we did a watch-along, as most of you will be aware, myself and the man Mountain, who will be joining us very shortly, watched Sheffield United capitulate at the Valley yesterday. It has to be said, we were in total control, and then we went down to 10 men after 35 minutes. And then, to be fair, I'd have still fancied us to get something out of the game because either we were so good, they were so poor, or something in between. But that was how the game was going. And then, just before half-time, Jaffet Tanganga gets sent off and makes it 9 against 11. Almost an impossible task. And they nick a goal, and they do nick a goal after half-time and manage to hold on. And that's what it was, I think. In my opinion, they were holding on to a result against 9 men. And while that's frustrating for a lot of us in terms of what could have been and how much closer we could have been to the playoffs and all this sort of thing, the one thing that has come out of it since, the manager had quite an emotional interview, I thought, after the game. And then I went through and picked up my dad from Dronfield, who had been down to the game with a load of the Ramblers. And my dad's not one for being dramatic, to be fair. He's very opinionated, but he's not like soft or anything like that. But he was sort of saying it were quite emotional the second half. I mean, on the watch along, we were saying you could hear the United fans singing all the way through. And he said, honestly, Jim, we did not stop singing and it was more like telling the team and the players, we're with you. We understand what's happening here, and we're with you throughout. So my sort of take on yesterday is, yes, it's a terrible result. We'd have wanted it to go a different way. Absolutely, we would. But are there silver linings that we can take out of that result yesterday in terms of, can it galvanise us? Can it? And look, it may not even be for this season, but it felt like a turning point for me. And looking back on it, it's quite a big shift. So we'll see. We'll see what the boys think anyway. I might just be looking a little bit too much into that. But without any further ado, let's welcome in, with a heart so pure, it's astounding. It's the man Mountain.
This is the view from the mountain, with a heart so pure, it's astounding. Man Mountain, strong and true. What a man, what a view.
Still, a lot of people still say that is the best tune on the Ramble. Now, how is it going, mate? You okay?
Yeah. Obviously a bit disappointed with yesterday, but, you know, we're here, we're smiling. We're good to go, mate. Yeah, let's get Davey Boy in and let's get going.
All right. Oh, okay. Thanks. Here's Dave the Nose.
Dave the Nose, he really knows where the wind, I know whispers blow. Smelly great, he's in the know. Dave the Nose steals the show.
Smelling great, he's in the know. Smelling great, that is the line. He's in the know. Dave the Nose, how's it going, pal?
All right. How are we doing?
Yeah, good, thank you, mate. Good, thank you. Looks like you give your seat a little twist, and yeah, it's looking good, mate. It's looking good. I'm wondering if I need to go down a little bit, actually.
Come on, everybody.
Nice, nice. Okay, boys. So you'll have heard my thoughts on yesterday. Really, very disappointing. But overall, are there silver linings that we can take out of it? Is is it something that might be a turning point? Not necessarily in the season. There's still 20 games to go, by the way. I think I know what Paul's going to say. So, Dave, I'm coming to you first.
Okay.
What do you reckon, mate?
Aside from the togetherness, probably not.
Oh, don't be sensible about it. Let's
You know what I've been like. It's boring, but it's one game at a time, and that's how I tend to view things. And it's disappointing. I mean, I've got to do an Andy the Blade and probably end up criticizing people and having not watched the game. So I was out with
wow, an opening jab there.
I was
you see that Andy the Blade? That one right for you, right on the button straight away.
He loves it. He loves it.
Samari. That's what
I've only seen the short highlights. I've not even seen the extended ones. So I've taken everything from what I managed to catch up on through social media, through the group, and I managed to watch a bit of 90 after 90 last night before tiredness got the better of me, and I've not managed to watch the rest of it. So my views will probably not be as in depth as certainly what you two were watching it. I wasn't able to go on holiday after all last minute, so I was in the UK, and therefore, because it was a 3 o'clock kickoff, unable to watch it.
Yes, you got your holidays cancelled, did you? Unfortunately,
I got my holidays cancelled, and he said I was on the moor in Sheffield, which was nice.
Oh, okay.
But in all seriousness, I think from the sounds of it, the togetherness, and particularly between the crowd and the team, and having that back, I think is really, really important for the rest of the season. I think we lost that, understandably so, after the start that we had. So it's good that it sounds like it's finally back properly. And it does sound like, apart from finishing, we played really well up until the sending off. Sending off, probably.
Yeah, we did play well, mate. And to be fair, I'm looking at it from two different perspectives here. I'm looking at it as a short term for this season, and also longer term with Wilder at the helm. It feels like he knows the group now. They know him. He knows who's coming with him and who's not. That we've talked about it before. That might not mean we can get everybody out in January that we might have wanted to. But in the summer, you look at people like McGuinness and Chong not being even on the bench yesterday, and you think that don't bode well. Having said that, McGuinness might now get a reprieve with Tanganga being suspended, Bindon potentially being out injured. So we may well see the partnership of McGuinness and me return for Southampton on Wednesday, which might make a few shudder. But I do think there's a lot of optimism.
Bindon was ill, wasn't he, mate?
Bindon was ill. Was ill. So there's a chance he makes the lineup on Wednesday. But it feels like we are a wounded animal after what happened to us. I think he feels wronged. I think a lot of the crowd that were there felt wronged. A lot of people watching the game felt wronged. If you're a Sheffield United fan, we were much the better side. These things happen in football, and we have to park it and move on. But if you can use it as fuel to push you forward, and we're 11 points away now from the playoffs. We're not even talking about it as that's 4 games of the 20 that you've got to do better than everybody else above you. So it's unlikely if we're being honest, and it has been unlikely up to this point, and it's becoming less likely the more points.
We're always going to lose games, though, and we will lose more.
Thanks, Dave. Yes, we will.
No,
you're right. You're absolutely right.
I'm saying that from a point of positivity, not from a point of negative.
Yeah, you're right. We have to be prepared to lose, because we're always going to lose at some point during the season.
And an interesting point you just made about how it can galvanise them. I've always thought United are incredibly dangerous when we feel like we've been wronged.
Very true. Very true. And I genuinely think we're a dangerous side at the level right now. If we'd have had 11 men on the pitch yesterday, it should have finished 2-3-0 quite comfortably again. And then you're looking forward to Southampton on Wednesday and thinking, can we go there and take an out form Southampton and turn them over? And we're still on the charge then. And it looks very different to how it does when the game plays out. It does. The only thing I would say is, and it's been said in our group, we're running out of games. And the start of the season has hindered us to the point where we can't afford to have too many Charlton blips like this. So Paul, I know you're generally very positive, pal. What are your thoughts on how we can utilise what happened yesterday to strengthen us going forward?
Well, I think it feeds into Wilder's. It's a great narrative. Having watched the interview,
Yeah, it was a brilliant interview, weren't it?
It's the siege mentality that you need, really. That this club needs. Like Dave says, we're always more dangerous when the backs are against the wall, and yeah, it feeds into it perfectly. And I'm not ready to write everything off yet. I think that the next 3 will be big in determining the confidence of the players, because beating Southampton will be a big result if that can happen. And then if you go and beat Ipswich as well, there's no better side in this division, in my opinion. So that means that the players will then go, well, if we can beat these two, if we have that perfect week. And yeah, it's a long way off because we're not, we haven't started any of that.
We're capable though, aren't we? We're capable.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, Jim. That's the thing, and it's all right. And I think you're right in saying it shouldn't be our first thing. Well, we're this far off the playoffs, because we're still at the point where the next 10 games will determine whether that becomes a conversation with games to go. And what you tend to find as well is, and what has happened a little bit recently, there's a couple of sides in Watford who've gone on nice little runs that have put them in playoff position. But if you can get yourself on a bit of a run, and United, I think, have got the side to do that now, and certainly I think with a few more in as he wants. Yeah, I still think it's early to be writing anything off, and it's disappointing. I think most fans write it off, and I think that when you go down to 9 men, you write it off, and what you hope is it don't go 4, 5, 6, because 9 versus 11 in professional football, you'd expect Charlton to be able to find big pockets of space and expose you. The truth of the matter was that game wasn't over with 5 minutes to go. And
it's incredible, isn't it? Incredible.
They'll take a lot from that as well.
Yeah, they should.
And yeah, you're right. They absolutely should take a lot.
You say I think the timing of the goal has done well. It's done as a massive wound in our game plan, obviously, and it gives them a massive no. They don't need any urgency to go forward and attack, because the chance of United winning that game. And obviously, you go a goal down, it ruins your chance of winning the game a little bit, because you got 9 men. But the timing of it meant that United were less likely to nick a winner or to go up the other end and do it. Because if Charlton have to commit, because they'll be thinking, well, we're playing against 9 men for half a game here, we've got to go and score. And at that point, they'll start committing players. The chance of you catching them on the breakaway become a lot higher the longer the game goes on, obviously. So I think it was the timing for them, that one, and it was the only piece of attacking quality that they showed. Yes, they did well to win the first header, but it was a good finish and a well taken goal. So and it was just the timing. If we would have hung on for another 10-15 minutes, you'd have seen a different game. I think you'd have seen Charlton trying to commit, and I think you'd have seen more opportunities for us to go and steal.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The only thing that is a huge concern to all of us, obviously, there was a glaring omission from the 11, and it was Jairo Riedeveld, and he has significantly improved our side. We talk a lot about Pat Bamford because the strikers often get the headlines, but Patrick Bamford has raised the levels of the attack undoubtedly. But in terms of tidying us up and tightening us up in the middle, Jairo Riedeveld, all Blades that have been watching the games will understand how important he has been to us. It's noted after the game that he pulled up in the last action of a training session with a tight hamstring. It then shudders down my spine when you hear hamstring, because you think back to players like, immediately it's the one that stands out is Michael Owen, but in the terms of Sheffield United, Rhian Brewster's had hamstring trouble, and once it goes, it's one of those really difficult things to overcome. These are worst case scenarios, but as a Blade, you can tend to catastrophize things. But if Jairo Riedeveld is now out for 3 to 4 weeks, which it could easily be with a hamstring injury, that significantly weakens our chances of, in my opinion, in terms of getting the extra 5% that we might need to get a winner against Southampton. I'm not saying we can't beat Southampton without Jairo. We're not a one-man team by any means. But him and Patrick Bamford have undoubtedly raised the levels. We haven't got anybody to directly replace Gyro. Does it, firstly, significantly weaken our chances of putting this run together that we so desperately need? But also, as a counter, does it force our hand in the transfer market, do you think, to go out and get somebody?
Well, that you've just mentioned the silver lining for me. It's because it's the 18th of January, and we know that that's happened. If it had been the 1st of February, we'd be in a real situation, because obviously until we know the extent of it, hamstrings can be anything. we thought Gus had an hamstring at one point. Do you remember? And he was playing the next game. So it is one of those, mate. It is on the scale, which is how long's a piece of string. It's massive. So it's we don't know, do we? We don't really know. But the truth is, it's happened now. So if it is bad, then it might change the type of midfielder that we might go for, or might refocus us on getting 2 in. I don't know. The good point is that Peck is coming back.
Yeah,
he's a young player who will get up to speed quicker than some of the older players. That's his body is gonna recover quicker than others. And I think if you'd have said a while ago, or certainly at the start of the season, our midfield 2 that we're going to have to go on with Samari as backup probably will be Peck and Arblaster. I think most people would like that.
I love them. I love them as individual players. It's just, can they play together?
Yeah, well, we'll find out. I'm sure we'll find out really soon, because I think they've certainly got the ability and capability to do so. I think Blaster will look after Peck a lot better than he was getting when he was unprotected at the start of the season. So I think that I don't think we need to worry too much. And I think if it is as bad as it could be, at least we're on the 18th of Jan, Jim, and not the 1st of Feb.
Yeah, that's true. Dave, what do you think we need to do in January? Has it changed your opinion at all, or?
No, I said all along, I thought we needed somebody in who could cover or compete with Gyro for that type of position. So I don't think it changed anything. It might accelerate how quickly we try and get it done.
Yeah,
but no, I still think we need that. Even if it's one of those and he's back on Wednesday or he's back at the weekend, I still think we need.
I agree.
Somebody who can shield.
An alternative.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agreed. Any names that jump? Obviously, the crutch has been Hamza that we've all gone back to, because we know him. He's been the Blade before. He's good at the level. We know this. He's proven. But I think it's becoming less and less likely, if I'm honest.
It's not mentioned anywhere, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. We tried to manifest it, and that has happened in the past. But it's not. It's not coming to any conversations that we're aware of. It'd be an expensive deal for the club. I think anybody that you'd like to see come in, it doesn't have to be in that central midfield role, but is there any standout players in the market at the minute that you'd like us to go for?
Dan Neil.
The recurring name in the Platinum chat, Dan Neil. It's so Dan Neil, for those that aren't aware, is the Sunderland central midfielder that has always gone really well in the Championship and had a strong part in their really good season last year to get them on the run that they went on. He is very much he breaks up play really well. He is a 6. He's what we're after in terms of a Gyro alternative. I wouldn't say he's a similar type of player to Gyro particularly, but that you need these little tweaks and differences in your team anyway to set up for the best team for the opposition that you're facing. He's got 6 months left on his contract. He's young. I think he's about 24. He's a Wilder type player in my opinion, but there is some interest from him allegedly from Premier League sides like West Ham, Wolves, and potentially Rangers. I think were mentioned as being linked to him as well. It'd be a fantastic signing for Sheffield United. He also gives us that little bit of security that if we don't go up, which it's looking likely that we might not, and we have to sell a City Peck or an Ollie Arblaster, we've already got some solidity in that midfield area with a young, strong, very good Championship midfielder. So we have to think about these sort of things now, unfortunately. So I think he'd be a great signing for us. How likely do you think it is, Dave?
I fancy us out of that group,
Do you?
Well, I think Rangers, you question what is it, if it's his ambition to play in the Premier League, then is going to Rangers the best way of getting there. And I think Wolves and West Ham could be in some real, particularly West Ham, if they go down, could be in some real bother.
Yeah,
Financially next season. I know they've got assets, but the amount of money they pay for the use of the ground,
They're banging trouble out there.
they could be in some serious trouble. And I mean, yeah, Wolves will have parachute payments, but I mean they look awful, and there's no guarantee that even if they come down, they're suddenly going to be, walk the championship next season. So I don't know. I think I'm not overly. I mean, you could see it happening and going to one of them clubs, but I'm not overly concerned.
And he's not. Let's be honest. It'd be a good signing for us, but our season or our future doesn't depend on signing Dan Neil either, does it? So we're in a decent position.
No.
We've got people. It goes back to that same conversation where we're in a good position because we are looking to improve the squad rather than plug gaps in, like obvious gaps in the squad. I think right back was a position that we really needed to improve, and I think Hover will prove to be a good signing. I'm pleased with that addition, to be honest. But other than that, I think we can be a bit more selective with who we bring in. I'd like a winger option. I'm not sure whether that's on the cards, if I'm honest. There's some talk that a goalkeeper might be in consideration this January, which would be good. Michael Cooper going down again. I think it was a tactical reason, looking back on it, and a lot of people have said since that, look, Jim, we were going and we were having some subs made and things like that. I think it was a tactical reason that Cooper went down during the game. But he has been laboured, I think is probably one of the best ways to say it, throughout the season. So if Cooper needs a rest or a break from the side or whatever it might be, or even just stronger competition, a backup goalkeeper, I know it's something me and Dave have been pushing for. Paul has warmed to it since Davo's recent Mansfield performance. Paul, anything that you think we particularly need going into the January? Well, while we're in the January window, obviously, before it shuts in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. I think a central midfield player it would be preferable. I think there's room in there for someone with, like I say, slightly different attributes to maybe some of the players that we've already got. I think that's the one area. The wide positions, I think we need somebody who can commit a man with a bit of pace, because it hasn't worked out for I don't think it's worked out for Chong
Or Ogbenny.
He was with the party, wasn't he, for this game? Saw him walking into the changing room.
Yeah, he was.
Wilder's probably utilised some of his experience, I'd imagine, to that. So he does pose the question, if he is anywhere near getting back to fitness, whether Wilder will persevere with him and try and do that, I don't know. But yeah, I'd like a wide player. I think we're all set up front, as long as everybody stays. And yeah, just possibly a centre mid, a wide player and a centre mid. Maybe one for each side if we're being greedy. But after that, I think we're all set.
That is greedy. But I'm with you. If Danny Alls reported previously that there may be an opportunity to terminate Samari's loan deal, which we thought wouldn't be likely with the fact that there's an obligation in there at the end of the season should we be promoted. Looks like we won't be held to that at the moment. But
where's he had that from? Because it's always been that we thought he was here for the season. And
I don't know whether that were an assumption from us, to be honest, mate. I don't know whether that were an assumption. Someone in, again, it's third hand, but someone has said in the chat that Danny Alls reported somewhere that there may be an opportunity, not that there definitely is, I don't want to be misquoted, but there may be an opportunity to terminate Samari's loan. Yep. If that's the case, and we do bring in a Dan Neil, are you terminating Samari's contract, Dave?
Yes, for two reasons.
Okay.
First one being that long shot we do get promoted. I don't think he's the player that we need in there.
He's not a £10 million player, is he?
No. So I think it saves us money there. And secondly, I'm sure he's a great kid, and I'm sure he's got, there's a player in there. We've seen flashes of things over, the last few games up until Saturday. But I think what we really need players that are more ready to cope with the championship at, where we're at and where we're potentially going to be at for next season anyway. So if there's an opportunity to better utilise the funds elsewhere in the squad, and I think that we should take it. And I think he would leave with best wishes rather than kicking him out the door, if you like.
Yeah, agreed.
For that money, Jim, he is exceptionally raw. We've
already paid over £1 million to get him here on loan, haven't we? So
yeah, well, I mean, You buy players on, you're buying him as a prospect, as someone who you think might step up and be able to step on into the next division and survive and hang tough in there. And
How bad were our business in summer? By the way?
I don't even want to think about it, to be honest. But the business has been good since Wilder returned. I know that's something that's been levelled at him before about that. I mean, and then we always, the Wilder fan club.
Woo, woo.
We always say,
Go, Chris.
for every big outlay that didn't work, there's been several very low outlays that they became cult heroes and club legends.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
So I think we need to remember that, and also I think the business has been really good. Obviously, we hope that Gyro is going to be fit, because he's made a big difference for us. But Peck's coming back at just the right time, and it may mean that Peck and Arblaster do get some more of those minutes that into their legs slightly sooner than maybe we wanted. But it needs must at times, and the time is now. So said Maloko. So we've got to do it, haven't we?
Quality that. Love that.
The moment.
Yeah. Well, Sheffield banned that. Sheffield banned that.
Nice. Okay, right. So I'm going to go into comments in a minute, but I'm not going to use this subject as a crutch because I think it can become tiresome, but it's very it stays relevant for different reasons, and I just want your opinions, not on whether we will, but did your opinions change on Gus Hamer's future following what were your thoughts really on Wilder's demeanour during the press conference where he was asked about Gus Hamer, and he shifted to look, if a player doesn't want to be here, that was obviously the line that stands out, and he didn't say that Gus had said that either, by the way. It was just put in there as part of the response. Or if the club receive an offer that they can't, they deem to be acceptable, it seems to me like all options are on the table for Gus Hamer here. In terms of it's not a done deal that he definitely leaves. I don't think that's the case, but it was like I interpreted it as a bit of a warning shot to Gus. If you don't sign your contract, you're not inexpendable. So, Dave, what were your thoughts on the answer?
It was a very Wilder way, I think.
We're a shot, weren't it?
Well, I think taking control of the narrative.
Yes.
Which he's very, very good at. And yeah, I do think there's a degree of, it's not entirely up to you whether you carry on at this club. I think that's a smart way to position things given the timescale left on the contract.
He's so good, isn't he, Wilder?
Yeah, I think it was
with that sort of stuff. I know people have their misgivings about him for different things, even his behaviour at times. But I think with being in charge, being the leader, and not letting anybody dictate to him, I don't think there's many better.
I would put money on that he'd had that answer prepared before he even walked into that press conference, and he was ready, and it was very well selected
and well delivered.
Language. Yeah, it was very deliberate, and I think when Wilder's reacting, and he's not thought about it beforehand, and I think when he's been very deliberate with what he says and how he says it, and I think that was one of those moments. And
on that note, I thought his post-match interview yesterday was outstanding as well. If you've not seen his post-match, I even thought about doing a specific ramble based on that and breaking it down because I may do it, but I don't think it will now because too much time has passed. But I thought what he said in that interview, or about a 12-minute interview on the Sheffield United website, go check it out because it is.
Try and catch it on the Radio Sheffield one where they don't cut little bits out that might get him in bother.
Oh, nice. Even better. So BBC Sounds, Radio Sheffield, check them out. Paul, sorry to cut you off, mate. You're going to return to the Gus thing.
Yeah, well, I think, sometimes I think Wilder sometimes separates himself from the contract side of things.
I don't have anything to do with that.
Yeah, that's not me. That's not me. I've told them what I want, and then it's down to the player, the agent, the dirt, and it's nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. See you later. I think this was Wilder saying to Gus, the club want the information because you can guarantee if Gus was allowed to go on the cheap, then that means less for Wilder to play with moving forward. And Wilder and everyone, I think we've said it a few times, we're 18 months to go. This is the time when you need to start securing the signatures on the bits of paper, or you need to start hawking them around so you get the full value for the player. And Wilder, although he says that's nothing to do with him, it's everything to do with him, because he knows that if Gus decides that he's going to tread the water, make some promises, leave lastminute.com, there's probably a sweeter deal in it for him, and it's a poorer deal for the club. And Wilder's interests lie with the club and his own ability to sign players, which will be affected heavily by what happens with Gus and his transfer. There's a lot of elements in this, and we've said it the other day. There's the player, the agent, the club, who's coming for him, if anyone's coming for him, what's the money involved. There's a lot of things in the mixer to say whether this would be this is going to happen or this isn't going to happen. And the truth is, he'll want the best deal for the club, and that means that he needs information right now about Gus Hamer. If Gus says no, I'm not, I have no intention of signing a deal, Chris will turn to the board and say green light for a move, because we're going to get more now than we would do there. And then at that point, that then depends on whether someone comes with the money for him that the club are after, because that's a totally different thing altogether. And is it a club that is attractive to him? I still don't think we'd sell to a divisional rival, even if we're not in direct competition with someone who might want him, like a Coventry or an Ipswich or something, if they wanted to gamble and get him in early, which we think they'd be the type of club that would come and get him, certainly in the summer. So it could be that if he says no, it might be that we say to Cov or to Ipswich, well, you know, if you really want to get promoted, he might just see you over the line here. Why don't you take him early? Why don't you pay us this money for this and that? Because at the end of the day, it's all about his club. It's all about what he's got to spend, and I don't buy this hands off, nothing to do with me.
He's never hands off, is he?
No, he's not. And every player that comes, a lot of players that come will instantly talk about Wilder being the main reason that they came in the first place. And he will have a hand in who stays and who goes. And there's a song in there somewhere. Will he stay or will he go now? I'm on it tonight.
Do you think? Yeah, nice. You can sing him as well as rather than just call him. You know.
Well, I know, mate. I know, but I like to hear your dulcet tones.
No.
Will I stay or will I go now? I don't know. Maybe.
He's not. Should I?
Yeah,
Look at Dave. Oh, Dave, why don't you give us a song?
Come on, Dave.
Oh, no, I can't sing.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, well, we're deluded enough to sing anyway.
That's your problem, not mine.
Would you be interested in making him a make weight in a January signing? If we're going big, if we were going for somebody like Jack Clark, like Dan Neil, I'm not sure Sunderland would be interested. But does he potentially offer that? Because this it's not been right with us this season. We can't put our finger on it. Again, I'm not going to dwell too much on the subject, even though I'm asking you a second and probably third question about it. But Gus Hamer should be giving you more than a 10-minute substitute appearance and not really pushing the needle on games, or 80 minutes against Mansfield or whatever he got and not making a difference. So it's a tough one. What would you do with Gus Hamer this window, David? David the Snake.
Caveat by saying that if we could have a committed signing a contract, Gus Hamer, who played like he did last season, then that would be the solution that I would want out of all this. That being said, I think it comes down to the deal, doesn't it? I think if the money's right, and I think that sort of 10, 12 million probably puts
six has been rumoured, hasn't it?
Yeah, but people always lowball to start with, don't they? So I don't think it'd be 6. But I think if it was around that sort of 10, 12 mark, then you're looking and going, it's a very difficult one to turn down. The make weight in a deal for buying somebody else, I think if it's the right player that we're bringing in, then that's just the same as selling him somewhere else for the right money and going in and buying somebody else. So the outcome has to be what is best for the long term for Sheffield United. And if it's moving him on and banking the money and it making the summer less painful or giving us more options, then that might be the way to go. We're not talking. I think 12 months ago, if he was playing like he was and he was as important to the team as he was 12 months ago, I think it's a different conversation than what we're having now, because you make the argument that losing him is at the detriment to the season that we're at potentially so heavily that the wheels come off. And the way we were looking last year at this time, we were well on for automatics. So I think we'd be sitting here now having a very different conversation if he was at 18 months a year ago. Given how he has been this season, I think it's a slightly easier conversation for us to have. And I think if I don't think let him go on the cheap. I don't think that's an option. I think 6 million. I think we'd get that in the summer anyway.
He's going to. I don't think by any means that it's a done deal that he leaves. I think there is a chance that he stays. But now you find a little bit like you're saying, Dave. You now find yourself asking, would we want this version of Gus Hamer to stay on big wages at the club? When really that might mean if we sign Gus to a new deal, we might have to sell Sidney Peck in the summer or Ollie Arblaster in the summer. When really you could be selling this version of Gus Hamer for decent money, not as much as you get for a Sidney Peck now because of the upside and things like that. But it's what's going to be best for the club's future. Gus Hamer should be the here and now rather than the future. And at the moment, he's not. He's not. And some people would argue that he's gone past his best. Maybe it's... We don't know. It's difficult because everybody's got their own situation, and you never want to delve into too deep into it, because we purely talk about and like to focus on the performances on the pitch, which is what matters to us as fans. But on the human element, there's been rumours about Gus and stuff off the pitch and stuff like that, which we're not going to get into. But you never know what's affecting players. There might be an issue that he's had going on that may have affected his concentration for a certain period of time. And if that's done and dusted, we can look forward to a new version of Gus Hamer who's got a clear mind and a better mindset, and he might want to get himself in better shape and things like that, more sharp again. So the fear is that you sell Gus Hamer on the cheap and he goes and has a blinder for somebody else, and you think, that's what we could have had. That is what we could have had if we'd have stuck with him. So it's a really difficult decision, I think, this, because nobody doubts his ability. I think some doubt his commitment at the moment, which is harsh to say out loud. I don't think anybody ever wants to play poorly, but what's best to do for the club going forward? Paul, have you thoughts on this, pal?
Well, again, I think I think he's right. I think you're right in saying that his role's definitely changed for the club. It's not. I think most fans would be able to accept it now, whereas, like you say, 6 months ago it would have been the end of the universe if he was to leave.
Going backwards.
And also it's what's the other offer? So there might be a player coming in using the money that we might now think, well, they'll affect our team more. I don't want to go down you said about the version. I'm not saying you're implying that he's not a good player anymore or anything like that. And you said about his ability. He's still an outstanding talent at this level.
Yeah, he is.
And I think he's out of form. So I'm not ready to throw him under the bus to the point where he's not as good. He's not the same player anymore. He's not going to get there ever again. He's an outstanding talent, and and that's why we talk about him. The numbers that we're talking about is because there's not many in our side or in this division who are attracting bids of that kind of ballpark. So we have got to remember that. I think if you look at our bench, and you see him on it, I think we're a better squad, better team with him in there, because he's a game changer. He's be pushing the guys on the pitch along because they know that one bad game and their position is out. Certainly in those two positions with Kyle O'Hare and at the minute Brooksy, but I don't want to chuck him under the bus. I just want to, because he is a nice guy, and I get the feeling he's not someone who wants to rock the boat. And I think Wilder will be sending him a little message, and he'll also be throwing the gauntlet down to him, because ultimately, if Gus doesn't want to sign a deal and no one comes for him, and he's still our player, Wilder will be in his ear hole saying, if you want a decent move, you've got to show up.
Yeah.
You've got
Your
to
reputation will only take you so far, won't it?
You've got to show up the second part of the season. Otherwise, the deals that you're getting will be half what you thought they were going to be, because
Yeah.
you've got to break your way back into the team as well. And we know he's got that ability, but all these things are little mind games that the managers like to play with players. And you can imagine Gus being someone who might need a little kick up the rear every now and then to get him back on his back to his best. But we know what his best is, and I don't think he's declined now to the point where he's not a player that everybody in this division would take. I think every team, even the ones right at the top, would take him in a heartbeat.
On reputation.
Yeah, I get it, Jim. But he's ultimately as well. What he might argue is he hasn't had many opportunities playing in. The side he played in the other night is not a first choice Sheffield United side, and he hasn't had shed loads of opportunities recently to prove his point. I'm sure Wilder's watching him in training, and there will be a time when he does start a game in the next few if he doesn't leave, and the right offer doesn't come. And we will wait and see, because he can be, and often is, a game changer. So I think it might just be a little bit of man management by Wilder, should we say?
I agree, and he is, like we've spoken about before, held to a different standard than other players because he's so good, and maybe unfairly so, because he's got more ability than we believe than the vast majority of the squad, if not everybody in the squad. But should we really judge him by why isn't he hitting Gus Hamer levels? Because for him a 7 out of 10 looks like a 9 out of 10, doesn't it, for most? So.
Yeah, and he plays in one of those positions, Jim, where if he's not scoring goals or assisting goals or being the best player on the pitch, he can't play his way back in the way that a centre half, a right back, a centre mid doing the basics, playing through, keeping it neat and tidy, looking after the ball, etc. That's what you ask your players when they're building their way back into it. What we expect from Gus is skin that man, ping that ball, play that through ball, hit that free kick in, do this.
It's harder for forward players, isn't it?
He's under a lot more pressure to produce the top performances.
And by the same token, strikers are similar, aren't they? So it's harder for Tyrese Campbell to use 15 minutes to try and score to get, and then we can come to Campbell if we need to. Same with Danny Ings, didn't get on again, or it's one of them where does he get that opportunity? So anyway, we'll jump into some comments because we've been going for over 40 minutes and not read one yet. So, hi 3MB, says Ontario Blade. Today I'm going Meldrew here. Here are my scores for yesterday. Cooper got a 7, some good saves. Sariki 8, defended well. Tanganga 1. He got -5 for stupidity. Binden 6, McCallum 8, good corners, filled in well at centre half. Samari 1, got a -6 for stupidity. Blaster 7, Peck 7, both gave all for the cause. Callum O'Hare 5, Cannon 6, should have scored. Bamford 7, gave his all as a lone striker, dead on penalty. Gus 4, hardly visible. Burrows 7, vast improvement. Campbell 4, quickly ran out of steam. Me 6, defended well. Mr. Meldrew, imitation is the best form of flattery. Up the worldwide ramble. Up the Blades, like and subscribe. And he also forgot Brooks, who he gives a 7 to, he says. Mark by Meldrew will be up on the channel very shortly. He's still got to send me the stuff through, but we will be doing one of those. So, lads, the thing that we haven't touched on, me and Paul spoke about it very briefly. Dave, have you seen, I know you didn't see the game live, but have you seen the red card incidents?
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on those, mate?
Samaris is a nailed on
one
for me. I don't think he's tried to do him.
It's clumsy, isn't it?
Yeah.
First touch has killed him, like Paul said.
Back on the stupidity thing a little bit. I think he's just, his first touch is so bad it's taking it away from his foot, and he's left himself at 6s and 7s, and don't.
Sorry.
It's naive, and on replay, Dave, I'm with you. But I have seen quite a few in the Premier League over this last couple of weeks.
Yes,
where things like this have gone, and there's not even a yellow, and there's
Dallo.
Yeah, exactly. And on Dallo's one of them. But I think there's been 2 or 3 that I've seen recently where they've got VAR, they can see it in slow motion and make that call. Wilder's accusation against the referee about Tanganga was interesting, Jim, wasn't it? About how Tanganga had been in his ear hole and shouting and sort of gesturing. And apparently he said he'll only deal with the captains when it comes to...
so deal with him then. Say what you say. You'll do what you say you're going to do, and deal with it, captain.
Yeah, well, I think with a red card, and obviously the championship's different to the Prem because it gets reviewed, and the refs then invited to have another look if they don't think they don't back that first decision. Wilder insinuated that the ref couldn't wait. He was very, very fast. He pulled it out of his pocket, dropped it on the floor. He was so quick to get his hands on it, and you go, I don't know. It's like surely the like you say, the lino's nearby, the fourth official. Surely there has to be some. What did you think? Did you think it was that? Because with Tanganga,
yeah, I mean that's never been a red card. No.
If he jumps and he's like elbow and he takes his head off with it and it's nasty, it's red all day. But as soon as I saw it, it was because he was coming in so quick and he was running and it, and as soon as the guy hits the floor and it looks like he's hit him in the head, whatever. I can see why the refs got overexcited. But if he's just jumping and its momentum's got by, he's missed the ball, and he's sort of caught, like you always put what you do with your hands. You don't put them behind your back, do you, when you're jumping for a ball and you're attacking something, because you got to protect yourself to an extent as well. So I just think it's a little bit of the referee will say, "Oh well, he smashed him around the head with his arm, and that's enough for me, and that's it." And Wilder implied, didn't he, that he had a bit of a bee in his bonnet about Tanganga from before, and he couldn't wait to do it. He might have a point, but I just think the ref got way overexcited. I think he did get the first one correct, like Dave says, but I just, I'm a little bit. It
can't be a red card. Tanganga's one.
It's not a red card. I've watched it back. We saw it twice. So I don't know whether that was just my stream, but I saw it in real time where I thought, I don't think there's much in that. I saw it again where he does lead with the arm, but then Jack's put a slower version in the Platinum chat. I don't know whether you both had a chance to have a look at it, but there is no way that there is any intent there. There's no. It's purely to get it. Gaz Dunn came on last night on 90 After 90. For those that don't know, he's a qualified ref, the man in black we call him, and he often comes on Paul and Lou's show on Ramble FC, where it's all about the championship and top 20 takes, and he'll give his verdict on some of the more controversial decisions. As a Blade, I asked him, what were your genuine thoughts on this? Do refs hold things at the back of their mind, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, do you think? And think, right, well, he's been an absolute swine to me. Wait till I get the opportunity. And I know you'd never think that at the forefront of your mind, but is there something there that says, I'm going to have him? And he is adamant, no, certainly not from his experience. And I believe Gaz. Gaz would say, it might be an individual thing, blah, blah, blah. Gaz doesn't think there were anything in it like that. He thinks it's been a call where he genuinely believes that there's been an intent to do some damage, obviously. That's what the red card is for. It's cynical. Looking at the replay, it's not. Gaz said for him it was a yellow card. So I think we get that overturned on appeal, to be honest. I think we have a real strong case anyway.
Well, we'll see. The one I haven't seen that Wilder made reference to was the challenge on McCallum.
I don't think I remember seeing that. Paul, do you know which part that were about? Were that early doors?
No, honestly, I don't know. Some of them are quite innocuous, aren't they?
Yeah,
if he's ended up needing stitches and stuff, it'd be interesting to see that. But I mean, the guy's running forward at speed and he's jumping, and you can't stop momentum.
And you can't really get any sort of leap without moving your arms, can you?
But if you're running, your arms are moving backwards and forwards, right? So when you jump and you're going forwards and you spring forward, you don't lock your arms. It's not possible. They're going to carry on in the arc that they were moving at that speed.
And not just that. It's a natural thing. You need your arms up for when you fall.
Of course you do. It's absolutely nuts.
It is. I think we have a strong chance on appeal. Certainly having seen that slowed down version that Jack's put, which is what the panel will look at, obviously, as well. So, right, let's get some more comments. Otherwise, we'll be here all night. Black Fen Blade says, "Evening, Jimmy. It's H, and I messaged you whilst the game was going on because I ain't on social media. I knew the watch-along was on. I was sat in the Charlton end." Ah, nice one, pal. I was sat in the Charlton end in the corner where Pat got pushed. Yes, got it. Or clipped. All Charlton fans around me said it was a penalty and got away with it. Sam McCallum got caught before Samari got the ball, but it was the follow-through. The ref was totally useless. Some of the shirt pulling and blocking off our corners was a joke. Had a clear view of it, and all the ref did was just ignored it. Does mind nutting and couldn't wait to get his cards out. The 9 players that played the total of the second half deserve 100% praise. And one TV angle shows Tanganga gets a nudge from Leeburn as he jumped for the header. Apologies for going on a rant, but you are doing a brilliant job and shows, which I always watch, but don't send comments. Up the Blades, up all the Rambles, up the 3MB. Last one, Pat Bamford also had his shirt pulled off his back in the box, and the ref just looked and shrugged his shoulders and gave notes. Come on, you red and white wizards. Thank you very much, H. Yeah, it was one for sorrow yesterday, weren't it? Appreciate you.
We were in London, weren't we?
We were in London, weren't we? Serves us right. Serves us right for Muscat. Lou says, evening 3MB. The red card for Jaff was very harsh, but I do feel he can make a better decision at that point. Interesting. The last thing you want is to encourage the ref that's inclined. He could have used his melon a bit more. If it wasn't a dangerous situation, he didn't need to fly in from a distance with his elbow raised. He's given him an excuse after being... I agree with this. He has given him a reason after being in his ear. As fans, we need to be consistent. We can't scream pen for Pat being touched on his back and then say Jaff isn't going to draw at least a yellow. Far more momentum and contact up the Ramble.
It's a foul, right?
It's 100% it's a foul.
I don't think it's a yellow card. And for the record, I don't think it was a pen on Bamford either. I thought if that happens against us, we're screaming.
Dave.
I do.
We're biased on this channel.
Yeah, we know what we're getting with Pat Bamford. All right, and you.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
You made when we signed him, right?
I said on the stream, the referee might not give that because, and while they've made reference,
you did say this.
Slowing down is the reason he won't give it is because Bamford does what a lot of forwards do in the Premier League. Let's have it right. Where he puts his feet, he feels the contact, he puts his feet together, and then he falls. And
like a dying swan.
It's you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Because if you try and go on and you don't get there, and he's nudged you off your stride, and you don't end up scoring, you don't get them unless you go down. And you don't get a penalty for someone pushing you and you stay on your feet and trying to run. It's just never happened, has it? So I feel like it's hard. It's an hard place to be as a forward, because his best chance of scoring there was to get the penalty, and and obviously falling over is part of that, because you're not going to get it. But you're not going to get it for trying hard. I saw the push, mate. You can come back and have a pen.
There weren't enough there for me for it to be a pen.
No, I know they're talking about...
Unless it's intent to foul, Steven Gerrard style.
No, yes,
let's not draw that.
Oh, that core memory unlocked. Oh, no.
Nightmares again. No.
There was an intent to foul, so I've given the pen.
I think there's a case for... we've heard of Bambi on ice. Bamford on ice yesterday. Bamford, he spent more of his time on his backside in Bamford yesterday. We're back to the Bamford that I thought we might be signing. And I don't mean that in a... He still played well. He held the ball up well. I thought he had a good game, Pat Bamford. He missed a chance that he could have done better with. But overall, he's been an incredible signing for us.
It reminded me of Ollie Mack a bit, to be honest.
Yeah.
Remember Ollie, every ball that come in,
yes,
he'd be on the
claiming for it all. And I was just thinking, yeah.
But he was the boy who cried wolf. There were ones that he could have got that he never got because of that, you know. So.
True. It's part of his game, and you take the rough with the smooth, don't you? I suppose. Do we think it's time to get rid of Campbell, says Dale, or Ings, as they don't seem to give us anything when Cannon or Bamford aren't playing? So there's two ways of looking at this, Dale. I think certainly Tyrese Campbell's been very disappointing this season. I don't think Danny Ings has given us what we hoped he would, but he's had much less minutes on the field. But it goes back to Paul's original point, a little bit like Gus Hamer, really. If they're not getting a decent run in the side, then is it unfair to judge them when they haven't been given that extended run? Campbell, you could maybe say, has done earlier in the season and didn't perform. But, I think people know how I feel about Tyrese Campbell at this point, so I don't want to push the thing. But I think it's always fair to give a different opinion. Dave, would you be looking at moving Tyrese Campbell on in the summer, possibly?
I think we'd see what the offers are. I think that's probably the politest way I can look at that. So again, I don't enjoy being critical of players or feel like I'm digging anyone out. And we know what he's capable of. So I think I said it last week. He could play on Wednesday night and bag 2, and we're lyrical about him again. He's got it in his locker. So the difficulty is moving him. If he moves on, is that you've got to replace what he can do with somebody who's doing it. So I'd rather us focus, to be honest, on trying to get that level of performance out of him rather than thinking let's go and find someone else to do it.
I think you're right, and I think there's a danger with Tyrese Campbell particularly. Gus Hamer, obviously, but Tyrese Campbell of how do you replace that standard of player, really? He's out of form, no doubt about it, but you're exactly right. Yeah, exactly. It's going to cost a lot of money. So, yes, he is out of form, as we've said, but he could point proven, which we've seen it in times before this season even, he can, on any given day, he could go and bag 2. And then all of a sudden he buys himself a reprieve, doesn't he? And because he's capable of doing that. He's a game changer. He put the ball in the Wednesday net, which again buys him more time with the fan base. Twice.
3 times, actually. Three times.
Well, 3 goals, 2 games. Yeah, exactly right.
Oh, okay. How many people wanted Cannon gone at the start of the season?
Not me. But yeah, a lot.
Right, but look how he's developed and started to get to the levels where, right, I think he probably should have done better with his chances, Wilder said. But the levels that he's got himself to, but then, but with them saying, well, hang on, because Campbell's had a poor...
I think it's an easier conversation about Danny Ings because of where he is in his career. I think this is probably his one and done season with us. Even if he comes on and scores a couple of goals, it'll be one of those, a little bit like Paul were talking about with it might have been yourself, Dave. He'll go with our best wishes.
He'll go somewhere else and score a load of goals.
Yeah, probably, most likely. But it's one of them where he's our 4th choice striker. And, that I think that will probably happen at the end of the season as we look to rejig the finances. Tyrese Campbell still holds value at this level. So it depends what version of Tyrese Campbell we're either trying to sell or trying to keep and get out of him. Because it's very frustrating when you see this version of Tyrese Campbell that we're seeing at the moment. But there is always a chance that like when Stoke fans saw him playing for us last season and were like, where were this? We released this guy on a free transfer. Where's this boy been? And he was great for us last season. And he was a big reason that we pushed so high and so far. And it's easily forgotten stuff like that. And I always try and remind myself when I'm frustrated with him, because I get very frustrated with him. I was quite vocal that I thought we were probably seeing the best of him at that point and we might not again. But it's still, whether that's been the case or not, he's got that ability to get to those levels. So I want to see more out of Tyrese Campbell. Paul, would you be considering selling him in the summer or even in the January window if we get an appropriate offer?
All the factors that I mentioned before for Gus are the same thing with Campbell. Who you getting instead? Because if someone had said to you last season, "Oh, Cannon will take his place in the team next year, and Campbell will be your 3rd choice," people would just laugh their heads off at you.
Yeah,
chance. What you on about? Don't know what you're talking about. And it's happened, hasn't it? Cannon's done decent, and Campbell's been off it. Like Dave says, any given moment he can come on and score. If you look at those attacking options off our bench, minus the wide player that we crave a little bit. If you offered any team in this division the chance to have Hamer and Campbell sat on their bench at Championship level, they would snap your hand off. Snap your hand off, because they are players that can come on and score. He's not a bad player overnight. I know that strikers are up and down in rich form, comes and goes. But he's a player that we bemoan maybe his fitness, maybe he's not working hard enough for us Blades because of he doesn't close down quick enough, or he doesn't give us enough outside the box, etc. But it's hard for players who don't play to get sharper and fitter. So it's a kind of a double-edged thing, really. It might take one of our other forwards, as in Cannon or Bamford, to pick up a little injury, for him to have 3 or 4 matches, for him to find the form that we want him to find. But certainly, I won't be flogging them too. If they're the 12th and 13th men on your roster as a championship side looking to win games, you take it all day.
On the roster like that.
Roster,
so is this where we have to be smart as a football club in terms of you look at this is the opposite of the Patrick Bamford situation. Bamford came in, scored a load of goals for us, played really well, clearly raised the levels, then held all the cards in terms of right, you want me and you should want me. These all other clubs all want me also. I'm happy to stay here. Pay me now. He has got a handsome deal out of Sheffield United, and so he should because he's earned it. So Pat Bamford had us over a bit of a barrel. We are now saying we know that these players, Gus Amer, and we'll particularly focus on Ty for this conversation because I think Gus is a bit unique at the level. But Tyrese Campbell is a good championship striker. We know that. He's proven that. Lacks consistency, can have arguments about his commitment, all these sort of things. But we know on his day, Tyrese Campbell can be very, very good at the level. While his stock is lower than it was, say, last season even. I'm not saying it's very low, but while it's lower than it was last season and he's not playing great, do we tie him down to it? Say he's on, for example, 25 grand a week. Do we say to him, look, here's 15 grand and another 3-year contract or something of that deal? Even 20. Do you know, I'm not saying low ball him intention, but make it work for the club is what I'm saying. If you believe that he is a player that can still have a positive impact for us at this level, is this the ideal time to be negotiating with him really when he's out of form? Because he's not sure what his options are going to be in 18 months when his contract runs out. Dave?
I don't think the form has that level. If you're talking difference between 25 grand a week and 15 grand a week, I don't think it'll work like that.
Maybe I were a little bit.
I don't think it'll work like that. I think
plucking numbers out the sky.
Yeah, no, yeah. Come on, Dave. I'm not Carol Vorderman.
Do you know what I mean?
Imagine if he's on this much and we offer him this.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, can we make it work, or even the same money? Because players would normally expect a raise. So say he's on 25 grand a week. Would you offer him the same again and get him extended on these terms rather than when he's saying, I've just bagged 10 goals for you and I want 40 grand a week?
You know how much I love these hypothetical questions where I
don't
know how much he's on or anything like that. So these are my...
I'm not of the information other than he's not playing that well.
The general point stands. We don't. The numbers are hypothetical, but the general point stands is: are we in a better negotiating position now with him than we would be if he was banging them in?
I think it's deal in hypotheticals. I deal in absolutes.
Yeah. All right. Oh. Okay.
Why would you? Yeah. But the other thing is, why would you want to go out your way to give him a deal? The truth is, Jim, he's never going to sign a deal when he's got so much time left on his deal to go, oh yeah, I'd love a 10 grand a week pay cut.
Well, it don't have to be 10 grand a week. Say we keep same money.
It's your numbers, Jim, not mine.
I'm changing.
It's your question.
I'm changing the question.
Not 10 grand. Well, you said it, dude. Well,
you know what I mean.
All I'm saying is,
you know what I mean.
If you said to Ty Campbell, right, yeah, I know you're on this much, take a cut and we'll extend.
No, take a cut then. Take the same money again. We'll give you another contract on the same terms.
Why would we want to extend somebody who's not playing well?
Because that's the risk you take. That's the risk you take because next year we could get last season's Ty Campbell, couldn't we?
I think he's got...
Who was being rumoured with an 8 to 10 million pound move to Everton.
As a fan, right, I think he's got enough in the bank. The same way Gus Amer has, to allow him some form that isn't where we've seen it before. And we don't want to be too reactionary.
As long as he's working hard in training and doing all the right things.
It'll come. That's what happens with forwards. It always happens with forwards. Some of them have 6 months where they don't score a goal and then all of a sudden they go in and again and again. It's a good question though, Jim. I appreciate add value.
Could have just answered it like that.
I'm still going to learn how to mute you properly, but you're just lucky I'm crap with tech. Mark Meldrew says, forget the red cards. Penalty on Bamford after 6 minutes. These two don't think so, Meldrew. He got it wrong and struggled with the basic decisions after that also. Samari's no issue with it. A red card all day long. Tanganga is a joke. Ray says, Campbell offers nothing now. Hope we can move him on. The lads gave everything on the pitch and deserved the applause at the end. Up the ramble, up all the rambles, like and subscribe. We've got a ramble on the road out, which just shows how good the fans were in the away end yesterday. So thank you to Jamie Dumpling. I think that will be his swan song before he goes to Oz. His last ramble on the road, but he does keep saying that and then squeezes another one out every now and again. So, Ian says, "Evening, Dave, Paul, and Orville." There's no need for that. Silver lining for me is the connection between team and I don't know what's happened here. The silver lining for me is the connection between the team and the fans ramped up yesterday. I can see the fantastic backing snowballing from here. Joint siege mentality up all the rambles. That was the serious point that we started off on. I agree. Don't like the disrespect, but I've got to get used to that. Plenty of positives. 11v11 we win. We win 3-0, says John. We are a great side. Love that from John B. Cooler King says, "Evening, Mardys. I've heard some saying the ref couldn't wait to send Tanganga off because he'd been in his ear. I think that's nonsense, and it was good to hear Gaz pour cold water on that theory." There you go, boys. There you go. Take that.
Right, can I stop there as well?
Oh,
right.
Cooler King's coming, getting it now.
Come on then, Cooler. Right, so, right. Dunny knows his stuff, right? He knows his stuff, and he knows himself.
Dunny just.
He knows himself, right? I'm not saying, and no one will ever know, Cooler. No one will ever know whether that was part of the referee's thinking. Nobody will. You can say it.
He'd never admit it, would he?
He'd never admit it, would he? Either. But you can't make I mean, saying it's almost pointless because, like you say, you never find out. But you can't say that all
you and your hypotheticals.
They're all the same. You can't say, they're all the same character. They'd never have done that. They'd never do that because they're all whiter than white. They'd never do it. I get it. He was clearly frustrated. It was an emotional comment, in my opinion. He probably did think there was an elbow or something in there that said it was a red card. And I agree with you. It probably is nonsense. But the truth is, you can't say. No one can turn to me and go, "Yeah, well, we know that this guy had no intention of doing that," because they are human and they do. Some referees, again, you do have these their own personal ways of doing things, and it did seem very odd how quickly he wanted to red card him. For me, it just did seem a bit odd.
Assumptions. I'm with you, Cool King. Love this show. 3MB says Dave Marwood. Up all the rambles, up the blades, up the +6, like and subscribe. H says tragedy, Jimmy, and I need to know some more step songs, lads. If you can help me out with some of them puns, it'd be great. Jimmy, the Charlton fans were turning against their players because we only had 9 men. Blades fans so loud and proud. If I was a Charlton fan yesterday, and I don't say this lightly because it's not to get Charlton fans' backs up, but I would have been slightly embarrassed yesterday. I don't know whether you lads agree with that, but you played against 9 men. Paul said it earlier. You should be finding the space and putting that game to bed. Certainly when you score after 46 minutes, you've got 45 minutes then to. It should be a training game. That's what you do in training. You play it 10, 11v8 or 9 to utilise the space that's in and around. Why did they not take that game away from us yesterday?
They took the 3 points. What on earth would they be embarrassed about? They scored early. There's no emphasis on them to score again.
I disagree with you on this point. You made a point in the watch along yesterday, and I disagree with you in real time as well. But saying that they'd done a fantastic job at managing the game. I thought they were panicked throughout the second half, and I think you even mentioned earlier, up until 5 minutes before the end, up until full time, essentially, that game's still in the balance. So how have they not put us to bed? And I know it's difficult for Dave to comment because he hasn't seen the full game, but how have they not put us to bed with 9 men? It's embarrassing.
Side, Jim, that lots of people fancy for relegation. We're supposed to be one of the form
They're at
sides.
home, and we've got 9 men.
Right. On paper.
Game's not played on paper.
I know. But what I would say exactly.
Oh, nice that you could get a prop for the show. I like that, Dave. I like that.
Very good, Dave.
Yeah, nice.
How would they? Should they?
All the popcorn brands are available.
How should they be embarrassed about breaching us just after half time to go 1-0 up and winning a football match? How on earth should they be embarrassed? They saw the game out. Did we have any gilt-edged chances in this game, Jim?
Of course we did.
Gilt-edged chances.
In the first half, we should be 3-0 up.
You're not on about the first half. We're on about the second half.
Why is it purely on the second half? But the second half, we had chances as well.
That's when they've got the men advantage. That's
But
what
we
we
had
were talking about.
we had chances in the second half. But yeah, it's not even what chances we've got. It's about what chances they should be creating for themselves against 9 men.
They won't be embarrassed about winning 1-0.
I'm not saying they will. They should. They should be embarrassed. That's why the fan base will be angry with them, because I'm telling you now, they're one place below us in the league. Are they that small mentality that, oh no, well, as long as we get the 3 points, that's all that matters? Nah.
Jim,
nah.
all the pundits I've seen this week have said that we're a top 6 side. We were going to make the playoffs. There's loads of that going around on social media right now.
Yeah, there is.
Also, lots of people think Charlton are going down to League One. So you've got to give it a bit of context. I think that is a big 3 points for them. That yes, I think they got out of jail. Yes, I think things have gone their way with the red cards. Yes, I think we should have scored in the first half. But the second half, they've scored early. They've took the pressure off themselves, and then they
haven't though, have they? They were nervous all the way through.
They secured 3 points. How are they going to be embarrassed about that? I don't understand.
Because they should be putting us to bed by more than 1.
Well, you can say that all day. They got 3 points and we didn't, and that's the truth of it. And why would they be embarrassed about that? It was a good goal that they scored. That was enough, and that's all you need, and that's all they got. And that's all. That's for them. For me, that is a big 3 points.
If you were a betting man and you saw that a team was down to 9 men in the same league, and somebody said, right, I'm going to offer you a tenner that they only score 1, what would you say? Thank you. That's point proven. Thank you very much. We're moving on. And
no. They had 9 men. We had 9 men. They had 11. They won the game. Why on earth would they be embarrassed about that?
No, I think they should be scoring more. They should be scoring more than 1. They should be dominating that half, and they didn't. They didn't. And in fact, Disco Dave put some stats in that shows exactly how. I don't think I can find them now because we're well past that, aren't we? But Daz Keeling says, evening gents, in April I thought the playoff system was evil and should be scrapped. Now I think it's the best format in world sport. Yesterday was disappointing, but we're gonna sneak in. Dave Vinter says, ref couldn't wait to send Tanganga off, and I think Tanganga having words did play into it. Refs are human and influenced by different things. Up the blades. Yes, you're. So I completely believe Gaz Dunn when he says he doesn't make a conscious decision about how players behave around him in terms of what cards he's going to give out. Nobody can control the subconscious as to how they genuinely feel about it in terms of, right, that was a foul, which may not have been a foul had he not been shouting in my face for the last 10
don't
minutes.
think he's thought, you wait next time he does something.
I don't, Dave. I don't think that either.
But
I don't think he's
him being annoyed at how things have gone, and it's maybe sped up. You know how you make more rash decisions when you're a bit more
anxious.
Yeah, pumped up, and
not only that, Tanganga has shown himself to be full of rage at that moment in time as well.
He's not giving him the benefit of the doubt, has he?
No, he hasn't. Bomber Clark says, I agree with Darren. We'll get a playoff spot. I know. I know no club is too big for relegation, but I've never heard no club is too big not to get promoted. Oh, nice. Billy Blade says, good evening, gents. Is it me? But did the attempt by Coops to save the goal remind you of Gerbich diving over the ball? I am not having a pop at Cooper for yesterday. I'm not, Billy. I can't do it. David Vince says next season will be difficult with Wolves, West Ham and Burnley coming down. He's nailed it already. That's the 3 that are coming down. Probably close to being bang on. The owners need to back Wilder so we don't go down the S6 route. Get behind the club, up the blades, up all the rambles. Sheila's Wheels says lost 6 points to possibly the worst team in the division. They were awful, even playing with 11 against 9. They'll be laughing, Sheila. They'll be laughing. Jamie Dumpling. Jamie Dumpling says, evening, guys. Great editing, Jimmy, for Ramble on the Road. Not sure who the bloke was at the end during the chanting at the ref, but so proud of that Blades performance and shows the character of this team. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up the Jamie Dumpling. Nice that you're upping yourself. So the bloke, I'll just explain it for people that haven't that haven't seen it yet. There's a certain chant that the Blades fans do to the referee on his way off the field. and I put up an image of a player just to let people know who they're chanting about, really. And it was Karsten Janker that I put up. He flashed on because they were saying Janker, 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 Janker. So that's why. So there you go. He's a German forward, Jamie. So that's who you need to know. Blades are a good side. As good as all but one or two sides in the division, but they keep finding silly ways to lose games. If they can cut that out, then the playoffs are still on, says Cooler King the Neutral. Arden Martin says, atmosphere was brilliant yesterday. Team battled all the way through the game. The result was disappointing, but if we show that commitment to the end of the season, we'll win more than we lose. Home Funk says, not having this nonsense from Wilder, both Stonewall Reds. Tanganga, that's not what a captain does. Great away end, saw a wild Andy the Blade and Jamie Dumpling up the Blades. We don't need any more centre midfielders. We've got Peck, Blaster, Davis, Samari, Hamer, Riedeveld, and Samari again. We've got 2 Samaris, and we've got Hamer, Riedeveld, Davis, Blaster, and Peck. I'd rather have 2 Pecks or 2 Blasters, but if that's what we've got, all 7 of them. No, to be fair, all joking aside, we have got, instead of the second Samari, could include Matos there, which we know we're trying to actively get out. Hamer's not a centre midfielder for me. I think we've tried him there and it's not worked. I think Samari is yet to be proven to be a consistent, strong player at the level. Tom Davis is very rarely available. I think the only ones you can rely on there and they haven't all been available. Blaster's just coming back from a big injury. Peck's just missed 6 weeks with his own injury. Riedeveld is now out injured himself. I think there's merit for a conversation about a centre midfielder, in all honesty. I would rather have quality in over the quantity that you're stating there, to be honest. So, but that's a conversation to be had, mate. That's a conversation to be had. Chris says, if United appeal Tanguy's red, it will be available for Southampton. Or will he be available for Southampton? I asked Gaz done this. Yes, he believes that there was not a lot of time to get a decision made for the appeal, so it may be available for Southampton pending the final decision on the appeal. So yes, I think we would have done that just for the game anyway, because the game that the third game of the ban spills into is Oxford at home, which you'd rather have him missing for than Southampton away, I think. Would you say Neil is a Basham type of player? Well, Basham's not a centre mid, is he? I know he started off as a centre mid. If you mean does his work rate outwork his talent, then I would probably say yes, he's a grafter. He's not a naturally skilled footballer in a lot of ways, but neither was George Baldock. Gary Neville always famously says that he's worked very hard to get to the level rather than being a standout natural talent of a player. That would be my opinion on it. I would ask the lads, but we are trying to get through some of these comments. For me, we need Dan Neil, a keeper, and another good forward. Oakes from Mansfield. He's jumped out at a few since that performance against us as Reece Oakes. Any chance we sign Vinny Souza back on loan? No. I would be very, very surprised, to be honest. Blade375, Alex says, evening all, hope everyone's good. Still gutted after that. Feels like a huge chance missed and mess of our own making. Are we back in the dogfight or staying up again? No. 5-point gap isn't enough. Any news of signings close? Feels like we may need a couple more than we thought. Would like another centre-back, centre midfielder, and right winger. I think we're
not getting a centre-back away.
I don't know, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Rick says, you were unlucky with 2 sendings off and 11v11 would have won the game. I like Dave the Nose. I likes Dave the Noise. But he likes Dave the Nose. Tune myself. Likes Dave the Nose's tune. Nice. Up the Ramble.
I'm glad we cleared that up.
Rather than Dave.
I like Dave the Nose.
I don't like Dave the Nose. I like his tune. I like his tune. Up the Ramble, marching on together, up Dave the Nose theme. Scott says, thoughts on trying to get Tanaka on a loan deal?
No chance.
Come on, Scott. He's down the pecking order at the minute, and Leeds are about to sign another centre midfielder. 6-month deal would be nice. Yeah, not happening, mate. No, we're not getting Tanaka. Wow. Let's have a look. Home Funk pushing back. Says the 360 on Gus is baffling and poor from the fan base and Wilder. Best player out for 6 weeks. Everyone scapegoated him or scapegoats him. Interesting. Jamie says, I'd argue for CW's post-match presser, the 30-second clip of his Sky Sports one was better, saying about the ref having faster hands than a magician. Yeah. Paul Daniels. Yeah, nice. I love that man. Absolutely love that man. Scott says, Hamer will end up at Cov 100%. All the Cov fans saying we still owe money to them regarding transfer. meaning they'll get a knocked down price for him. Probably end up going for note then, won't it? Prices that we're being quoted at the minute. Late joining tonight says John, I'm sure focus will mainly be on the match yesterday, understandably. I prefer to focus on the next game, assuming no incomings. What would your team be? Now, I will be doing my team on Countdown to Kick Off, probably tomorrow, to be fair. Lads, any changes to the 11 that you saw yesterday?
Oh, definitely changes.
Oh, there will, David. There's no need to jump in so quickly and make me look foolish. Samari is out, undoubtedly. There's a chance Tanganga plays, so I'll allow him for selection. But what's your 11, Dave, for Southampton on Wednesday?
Same back five that started if Bindon is well enough.
When you say that, you mean Cooper as the 5, because there's 4 at the back, isn't there? Yeah.
Yes. I guess it's if Gyro isn't fit, then it's going to have to be Blaster and Peck.
Yep.
Then I would probably go Brooks right, O'Hare left, and then Pat and Cannon.
Picks itself, I think. Paul, any difference to that?
Not at the moment. No, same.
Thank you, my mate. I think that's the shortest ever recorded answer from Paul the Man Mountain. Thank you. Would
Can
you
we do
sell...
that thing, that Hecky picture where someone's put no?
Yeah.
Can we just have that?
No changes. Would you sell Hamer for 10 to 12 million and bring in Raksaki for 8?
No.
Which is the quoted price to Stoke. First part of your question, yes. Second, no. That would be my thing. If we get 10 to 12 million for Gus, I'd accept it. And I know people think that's... some may think I'm scapegoating him there, but I think that's peak value.
You're not scapegoating him if he's not going to sign another contract.
Peak value, that. He's only going to depreciate from them sort of numbers.
Next question. Sorry to derail you, Jim.
Go for it, mate.
Would you take the 10 to 12 even if you wanted to sign a new deal?
Ooh. Oh, no, I've got to back him. I'm going to say no, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't. The board would. I'm pretty sure. Would you agree with that, lads?
Yeah. I think you're right, but just for repetition, I'll back Gus because he's quality. No, I'd keep him.
Great question, Paul the Man Mountain. What's your answer to it?
No.
The Puhausery.
Honestly,
mate, you want short answers, you'll have them.
Don't get like that.
It's turned.
Don't get like that. Yeah, James, we're not talking about that, pal. Rice says, yes, Scott, I would, as long as we replace him with a fast direct winger like Johnston. John says, for what it's worth, I will go with Cooper, Hoover, Bindon, me, and Burrows, Peck and Arblaster, Brooks O'Hare, and Hamer and Bamford. Interesting, John. Thing I don't get is why the tackle on McCallum doesn't even get a yellow, but Samari's a straight red. You're not the only one to suggest that, pal. Hi, we now need the home crowd to be as good or better than the weekend away crowd. We've needed that for a long time, Pete. And as part of the home crowd, we've never been as good as that away end. Never been. And there's no reason for it. We're all individual.
Like that, though. To be fair, if you listen to every single, if you look at the crowd in every single match, you'll always hear it. Particularly championship level. Is this a library and all that sort of, the classics that we hear.
But the home crowd could be a lot better, mate.
It could be a lot better, yeah. And it normally takes something going wrong for us or something against us to get us there. We need to find a way of getting that energy.
A home crowd needs something to happen for people to start getting on the bandwagon. Where you look at some of the games in Europe. So I'm thinking of like the German sides when you see them in the Champions League. You've seen a few like Newcastle at home in the Champions League as well. Things like that as well. They go for it. And if anyone who's the NFL, I spoke to Jim. I know Jim's dad likes the NFL. I was watching a game last night where the Buffalo Bills were at the Denver Broncos, and the Denver Broncos were putting a thing on cheer now because the quarterback has to communicate with the management on the side of the pitch, so they communicate through the helmets.
Nice.
So they speak to each other, and he's looking at his little playbook, and they talk about what they're going to do next. Obviously, so the Denver Broncos crowd was so loud that the quarterback couldn't actually hear what the manager was saying and had to go and change his helmet and have to use loads of diversionary tactics because he couldn't, because the crowd was so loud. I'd love it. I would love it if the Bramall Lane crowd could reenact anything like it. I mean, the most recent one was the Wednesday. Obviously, we went to Wednesday. That was unbelievable. The away days. If you've never done it, you've got to do it. It's so good, especially when you're winning and you're playing well.
Well, I'll be doing it on Wednesday, so I'm looking forward to that. But it's something needs to happen, but it could be something like a run of games. If we are within touching distance with 10 games to go, there is every reason for the crowd to get raucous and behind us. If we're starting to win games and we're within touching distance, it can be a very excited end to the season. There's still that potential for it to happen. We're not, like Dave says, one game at a time. We'll not get, ahead of ourselves. Why would Jaffet Tanganga go to hurt the player, says Scott? We were all over Stoke and in control. Why would he risk getting sent off? Makes zero sense. We're all over Charlton. If Bamford goes down without a touch, then why isn't Bamford carded for simulation? Fair. Sam McCallum caught 5 minutes before Samari got the red by Nibs. Ref didn't let the physio on. Sam was down for a minute, says H. Romeo says, I say we get promotion next season in the top 2, mid-table this year. Bjorn says, my favourite middle-aged Sheffield lads. I don't really know how to say that.
He's technically right. We've got no defence. I'm sorry.
Speak for yourself, Dave. Speak for yourself. I'm the youngest here. So
by a technicality.
Okay. Brilliant show and level-headed 90% of the time. I have to let Dave speak. What can I say? We have to let him get involved. Evening 3MB, huge credit to those lads after the 2 reds and the travelling blades, says Ben. Effort from the players was mirrored by the relentless support in the away end. Win, lose or draw, up the blades, up the ramble, like and subscribe. Dave is a Sith Lord. I'm not really is it a Star Wars thing, that? Sith Lord?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Right, okay.
I don't know what it means. What does it mean?
What does it mean, Paul?
Powerful.
Yeah, we'll have that then. We'll have that. Do you reckon we can get the playoffs, says Jihan?
Yes.
Do you well, I'll rephrase it for him. Do you reckon we will get playoffs, Dave?
No.
Paul?
Don't know.
Apologies to the audio listeners there. There was no flaw. It was just...
I'd love us to. Is it likely right now?
No, it's not likely. Jamie Dumpley says, I'm considering doing Ipswich for Ramble on the road, as that's my final match of the season before the playoffs. Jamie Dumpling. It'll be an emotional Ramble on the road if that's the case. Have you asked the gaffer, Big T, if you can have it? That's my question to you. You might have to fight for it. Sean says, looking at the Tanzania situation yesterday, the ref, in inverted commas, seems to take some instruction from a Charlton player before pulling out the red card. Yes, send him off, ref. Oh, yeah, all right, then I will. All right. I don't think that's quite what's happened, but I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
All right, then.
Shall I? Shall I do him? Shall I do him? I'm gonna. You watch.
Oh no, I've dropped my card. Oh no.
So,
did he drop it on both of them? Because I saw
was it the first one? I don't know. It just adds to the circus. Adds to the circus of the performance.
Cool King's not having it. He don't think it's a conspiracy between Charlton and the ref. I'm not having it. It's like watching The Gloves Are Off with Mr. Mountain and Jimmy. We'll have to swivel his chairs around and Dave can be adjudicator between us. Day 1S says, every time we broke in the second half, they hacked us down. They were panicking. Is that popcorn, Dave the Nose, says Nige. Bryce says they didn't have a single shot in the first half. That's enough to be embarrassed about. Second half, we still didn't look out of it, and with a better team than Charlton, would have scored freely. Yeah, I think so too. Big T says, no then, lads. Still 9 points behind the playoffs with a game in hand. We're actually 11 points behind. But on to Southampton. Come on, the Blades. Ollie Arblaster's favourite part of the Blades Ramble, Big T. Joe says, if anyone can build a squad without parachute payments to get us to a promotion battle, it's CW. Write this season off and watch us fly next year. Good times will be back with the Messiah. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. I'm not far from this thought process, lads, I'll be honest. would take one hell of a run, but seems to be Wilder wants a fair few out still. If he can get his sort of players in, could still make a tilt for the playoffs. I think we are done, but never count us out.
Wilder is definitely not of that opinion. He will be 100%.
Too right.
100%.
Next 10, well, next 3 I said first of all, but the next 10 or 12 games will tell us whether there's a, if we're in 5 points, 4 points of him with 7 or 8 games to go, he'll have him going for it.
I'll put what I said. I forget who I said it to the other day. I think it was at work. I'll put I'll nail my colours to the mast now. If we make the playoffs, we go up.
Well, I would agree with that. Nobody's stopping us. Nobody's stopping us if we make the playoffs.
But apart from the fact that every time we've got to final, we've lost.
I know that, but there is
game.
I think this is
the momentum.
This is the time when we do it.
Batman Lou says Paul's saving his words for Tuesday. A nice little plug for Ramble SC there. I love that, pal. Chris says, do you think Jezrak Saki will be coming back? I'd like to see him back. No, I don't, if I'm honest. First 4 years, the atmosphere at Bramall Lane was unbelievable, says Joe. First 4 years of Wilder, I assume he means. So sad how it's dropped off since then. Would put a lot of it down to the fans becoming entitled and not remembering the League One days with Adkins and co. I'm not sure how many people are ready for that conversation, but I think there's merit to that argument that the more fans that came on board kind of got used to a bit of success, and then it's difficult to then get excited for different things when you've seen us up at a different level. For some people, not all, obviously. First 4 years of Wilder's stint, may I add? Yeah, I thought that's what you meant. Jihan says the Stoke away end was electric the other week. Yeah, they were good. Sith Lords are evil and from the dark side, Jim and Dave. All right, okay. I don't think Dave's evil. I think far from it. They are more powerful, though, Bri. They always lose, Lou. And Lou says touche. Okay, right. I think we are at the end of our comments now as we delve into a Star Wars conversation by the looks of it, which I've not watched them all, I have to say. Lads, any final comments? How do you think we'll go against Southampton, by the way, before I let you go, Paul?
Yeah, I think we'll win.
Do you?
Yeah, have you seen their form as well?
I have. I agree. It's just you weren't that convincing. That's all.
They're toss a coin. I think with 11 players, our form's better, and I think
that key element of having all the players on the pitch. It'd be nice.
Right? Yeah. We've got players with a point to prove. I think we can go there and win. No doubt. I thought the home game they were very, very fortunate. They've obviously got quality players, but they're not in great form either. And you can see Wilder getting a reaction out of the players to the adversity that they've recently faced.
Dave the nose.
Yeah, as per previous point, we're dangerous when we're wounded, and we are wounded after Saturday. So yeah, I fancy it.
And is it still the case that you two are wanting to do a watch along for Southampton versus Sheffield United?
I'm happy if Dave's happy. We can discuss this off air if you want, Jim.
We can, because Meldrew and Motson have also put their name in the hat, as you're aware. So it may be it may be a watch party this time, but we'll have to wait and see. Because it'll be on StreamYard, so it'll be easier to do that way. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But there will be a watch along, whoever it may be, for Southampton versus Sheffield United. I will likely be back tomorrow with a countdown to kick-off, so we'll see you all there. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards.
If you pay him 20 grand and then take 5 grand off and then